lot of times what happens is the shifter just won't come out of gear. You know, you'll pull it over and it just doesn't shift. So let me just show you how to check that out and show you what the problem is. First thing you got to do is just take a small screwdriver and you pop this off right here very carefully. You don't want to break anything. They just have plastic clips that hold it in. Pull this out, and we're going to take this piece here and pull this out also. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the whole face of the dashboard here. So let me grab some tools and I'll get right back to you. What we're going to do is we're going to take off the face right here so we can get into the bolts inside here. So you just pry this very easily. Watch you don't break anything. Have time and the patience. You just pry it. And it'll come right off. You just pull it out and you'll unplug all your electrical connectors from the back of it. So we can just remove the whole thing from the car itself. And let me show you the way you unplug it is down in the back right here. You got these little clips right here. You just push down on them and you pull it right out. Just like that. Same thing. Push down and you pull it right out. This one I'm going to put the camera down and I'll do that too. I'll just show you here. This one we're going to take out too. The way we're going to do that is we're going to pull this little red clip up and then we're going to push this pin in. So we're going to pull that clip up with a screwdriver and push this pin in. Let me do that. Okay, pops up and then you just rock it back and forth and we unplug it just like that. Now let's relocate that to the side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take out the shifter console itself. So let me grab a couple tools and start on that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do after we get all this apart is we're going to go down inside the center armrest in the console over here, and we're going to take out the screws down inside here that hold the box down. So we're going to take out those 3 screws, it looks like, and we're going to take this the instrument panel and slide it backwards. So let me get those screws out and I'll show you how that goes. Okay. After we have all the console screws out, you can see everything is pretty loose, but we still have to get the front out right over here. Now we want to do is, this is pretty much just held in with clips. You just pull it and it comes right out. Alright, and you'll see screws right here. And we're going to take this out of the way here. So we'll just take these screws out. Those are Phillips. And we should be able to pull the console right out. Right out. Get this out of the way so we can lift the console up and out. There's a little electrical connection right here for the light. We're just going to push that pin in and we'll pull it out. Oh, I'm sorry. There's 2 more screws in here. We'll take these out. This one. And 1 more on this side here. And then we'll just take this out of here. Put the camera down for 1 second. Okay, then once you have the console up so you can access underneath the bottom, there's a clip that's in here for the cigarette lighter or the accessory port. You just have to push this little clip here down and it pulls right out, and then we'll take this whole thing totally out of the way. Okay, and then the way you can, or the way I just move the vehicle is once you have this all opened up here, this is the cable that actually goes down to the transmission. I just got back behind here with a screwdriver and just pried this piece out like this, and then if you start the car up and you step on the brake, you can shift the transmission just by pulling this shifter, whatever drive, reverse, just so you can move the vehicle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this whole shifter assembly because something is broken on the shifter assembly, and I've run into this before. There's usually a spring down inside here that's snapped off. So let me take out these screws. We have one here, we have up in the front here, and up here, and then we're going to unplug the electrical connectors and pull this out of the way, and I'll show you how that goes. Okay. Now we're going to unplug all of the connectors. We're going to push down on this pin and unplug all of the electrical connectors that you see, so we can remove it from the car. Pry the shifter out. You just lift up on it. And it pops right out. Same thing on this side over here. And we're going to unscrew all of these screws here. Okay, once you've got everything disconnected, you have your cables all disconnected, all your electrical connectors unplugged, your screws are all out. That's it. You pretty much just remove the unit from the car, and we're going to replace the entire unit because inside there's a little spring that breaks inside there. So let me get the new one and we'll put it back together. Right after you get the shifter out, as you see, the new replacement shifter doesn't come with the piece up on top here. So what you're basically going to do is you get up underneath the bottom right here, and you just push that clip in, and it pops right off. And you just pull it off. And we're going to switch the electrical wiring over right here also, and we're going to put it right back onto here. So let me do that, and then we'll see how that goes. And you snap this right back into the new one. Put your wires down in the bottom here so that they're not going to interfere with anything else inside the vehicle. Now we're going to take a chance on breaking them. So put them back in where they belong. And now we're going to take it, put it back in the car. So let's do that. Okay, now that we're back in the car, we know we're just going to set this back in here, back where it belongs. and we're going to put these bolts back in here, and we'll reconnect our electrical wiring. But before you do that, I just want to show you this real quick. You have to take this little hook right here, and you have to reattach it right inside there. So I'm going to do that first. Put this piece back on there. Make sure that this little ball here is behind there, and then we're going to snap that back in place, and then we're going to bolt it back down. So let me do that, and I'll show you how it goes. And it just snaps right in. What we're going to do is we're going to lay this back in here. We're going to reattach. We're going to reattach the shifter onto the side right here. And it just pushes right in there. Make sure you push this all the way in, and you'll hear it snap in, and you'll see it's all the way in where it belongs. Right? And what we're going to do is we're going to reconnect everything that we disconnected. This one snaps in there. This one snaps in here. What I always like to do before I put the whole thing back together is just to make sure everything works properly. As you can see, it shifts. Right? Perfectly. So now that I have everything and I made sure it all works, I'm going to reattach the bolts right here and put the console back together. So let me just do that. And we're going to bolt it back together. Just make sure your wiring is in position where it belongs to hold it out of the way so nothing interferes with it. And then we're going to put the bolts back in. So let's do that. You catch them all by hand, of course, by first. The front here. Okay, now you can tighten everything down. Doesn't have to be real tight, it's just snug. Alright, now you have all the bolts tight. We're just going to reconnect everything else that we took out. I'm going to just show you this real quick too. I unscrewed this off of here before, it just screws right back on. Now some of them screw on, some of them pull off, depending on which one you have. This one is a screw on. And you screw it down. That's it, it's all set. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the console back inside. We're going to reconnect our electrical wiring that we disconnected from here. And let me get that console back in. I'll lay it in here. And then we're going to bolt the bolts back in, back over here. And then we'll start putting the rest back together. Okay, now I laid the console back inside here. I plugged in my, my accessory power supply in the back here. And now we're going to slide this back into the front this way and then back into the back. But what you have to do is we got to get the shifter back through here first. So you're going to need to just turn the key to the on position and just move your shifter down. Gives you a little bit more room to work getting the console back in. So get the console back in. Then we can put the shifter back into park, and then we can just position it over the top of the holes down inside here, and we're going to put these screws in here, and I'll come right back. Okay, now that we have everything back together inside here, we're just going to snap this cover back over the top. It just pops right in and it snaps right down. We're going to put our other tray right in here. We're going to reconnect this, plug all the plugs back in. So let me do that. Where it belongs. Now we're going to put the centerpiece back in. We're going to make sure all of our plugs get plugged back in where they belong. Okay, all of the plugs are plugged back in where they belong, up on top here. And now we're just going to push the control panel back into its position, and it just snaps right in place. That's it. Okay, everything's back in. Last thing last, we're going to put that back in there. And that's it. Faceplate's back on. It's snapped back into where it belongs. The shifter cover is in. Everything is back in place. That's it.